Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the stream. My name is Rich, and we are going to be playing some X Point Old School today. X marks the spot for X Point Old School. What it is a combination of like the 7-point Singleton that I played on the stream here, and Atlantic Rules Old School Magic. You see that there are some cards on the screen right now, and they all are assigned a point value. The reason it's called X Point Old School is because X is a variable, and the number of points used can change from league to league. It is currently set to 7. I've got two separate entries there for the restricted cards and the unrestricted cards. So, for example, Hymn to Torok is 2 points each. So, with 7 points, you can play 3 copies of Hymn to Torok if you wanted, and then you would have 1 point left for something else. Perhaps Chaos Orb or something along those lines, or if you wanted to run a factory. So there are all kinds of different variables involved in X Point Old School. So looking forward to seeing some of the things that are going to come to fruition here on the stream. So if you are new to the stream, please do not forget to follow. You can join me each and every week for my regularly scheduled stream. I play 3 rounds of Old School Magic each and every Tuesday night with the Northern Paladins as part of the Tuesday Night Gauntlet. So don't forget to follow and turn those notifications on so you know when I go live. Coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, PREMODERN makes its stream debut for me. 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight Central European time, we're going to have a PREMODERN showcase. 3 matches of PREMODERN going on here on the stream. So I definitely appreciate everybody being here and anybody who can show up for the additional streams. So one of the first things that we got to do is we need to go with the color chooser. And let's see what color I am going to have for my border today. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Oh, there we go. We are going to move over to blue. All right, blue is the chosen color. We'll turn on the blue. We will turn off the black. And there we go. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring you into our players, and we are going to talk about some X Point Old School. Gentlemen, welcome to the stream, and thank you for allowing me to stream this matchup today.
Well, thanks for having us. Yeah.
I'm pulling up the points list here on the screen right now. So let's talk a little bit about the card points and a little bit about X Point Old School?
Yeah, well, about X Point Old School, I started that a couple of months ago with the idea of making a format, old school, which we all love, but then try to tune it down, to tune the power level down a little bit. So that I talked to a guy yesterday I played a match against, and he said, well, imagine you're at an old school event with 6 rounds, round robin, and in the third round, you finally meet someone whom you have a game with a lot of interaction, and you're basically on the same level. That's the idea that I wanted to accomplish with this format. So try not to have to overpower decks, forget the wipeouts, just an interactive game with like-minded power level. And then,
Yeah, so one of the things that we talked about before the stream is, and I know that I'm not the only one who feels this way, losing to an early mind twist is one of the worst feelings in Magic in general. So I know that X Point and even like the 7-point Singleton that I play and things like that, those mitigate that that part of the game. We're not saying that it's not going to happen, but it's going to be much more difficult.
yes.
So we've got fellow streamer in the chat right now, Entrox. So shout out to Entrox. We've got his link in the chat, and we've got up on the screen. We've got a clip from his stream. So Entrox, thanks for joining me, and any of the viewers, go ahead and click that link and make sure you follow. Now you guys are both have a couple of different decks today. Now let's talk about the points. So I know that we talked about it, that you wanted X to be a variable so that while it's currently set to 7 points, it might stretch up to 8, 9, or whatever, or maybe down to 6 or 5 or something along those lines. What was the feeling behind that?
The idea initially was I started with this when I was playing 7-point Singleton, which is a great format, and I was like, wow, it's the game feel balanced. It's a lot of diversity, and I want to bring that back to old school as well. So initially the 7 points were just copied from a 7-point Singleton, and then I was like, well, if I call it 7-point old school, everybody gets confused. Sometimes they still do; they think it's Singleton.
Right.
So I made it X, because with X you also say that you can change that in the future, right? So if we think a card is too powerful but we can't give it 1 point because that's too much, then you might give it a half a point. But then again, you're like, perhaps we could just up the make the card 1 point and up the total. How do you say it, Raymond? The total.
Yeah, I think increase the total from 7 to 15. That way we get more room to play with. We could even point cards, like if we wanted to, cards that are a little bit unbalancing at times, like Swords of Plowshares or Disenchant. If we wanted to kind of push the format away from white, which we currently don't want to do, we could easily make it 1 point per Disenchant, say, just for example. And we'd have to run probably a 15-point instead of 7-point system, but that would give us room to play with. That's just an example.
It's flexibility and a way to diverse from the existing 7-point Singleton, so that you make it the difference between the two formats easier.
And one question that I had about the points was, one of the hallmarks of old school Magic is the use of Chaos Orb. So what was the rationale behind making sure that Chaos Orb was a pointed card instead of a free card?
Well, like I said initially, I just took the 7-point list for the first month, and then after that we started thinking, well, this is still a totally different format than a Singleton format. So Chaos Orb is going to be changed next month to 0 points, just like the Strip Mine, for example. That's also a staple, and it's an answer card, so it's something you should be give to everybody in order to answer some specific threats. So
may I jump in here?
Sorry?
May I jump in here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so initially, just to go back to the format we're currently using is Atlantic. So Strip Mine's already restricted to 1 copy. So it's already hard to answer 4 ofs in Atlantic, such as Maze of Ith, which we were kind of concerned about. Or if somebody has the balls to run Library of Alexandria, we don't want that card to go unanswered. like some colors like just don't have easy ways to answer land problems.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, red has stone rain, black has sinkhole. Some colors just don't have, like blue just doesn't have many answers, and that wouldn't feel very good. So we wanted to make sure that everybody has access to Chaos Orb and Strip Mine at 0 points to have some outs to like powerful bomb cards like Maze of Ith or Library of Alexandria.
It's like when I play on Tuesday nights with the Northern Paladins, they've either banned or restricted a bunch of the problematic lands. For example, Library of Alexandria is banned, and you've got Workshop and Mishra's Factory and Maze of Ith are restricted, as is Tabernacle. Not that too many people run multiple Tabernacles, but it could end up being problematic if a deck can easily play multiple Tabernacles. I'm looking at, like a Living Plain deck, something along those lines. So you guys are going to end up changing those. So why did you guys go with Atlantic then?
Atlantic, because it adds Fallen Empires to the set of playable sets to your it has a lot of nice cards in order to make some decks just better, and it adds more diversity to the game. I think Fallen Empire should be part of old school.
I do too.
That's why I chose for the Atlantic format.
Yeah, I just I think that Hymn to Turok should be restricted.
It's the thing is that we thought about restricting cards as well, but that's something more for the developers of the format, and we just implement the point system in order to tune certain cards.
It's confusing enough.
Yeah, let the players loose on the format, see what they come up with, and if they come up with something that's a little broken or there's a pattern, then yes, go ahead and make changes. That definitely makes sense there.
Sorry about the pointing. The way we do the pointing system is that we we monitor for every month.
Mm-hmm.
I just note all the cards, the colors, etc., and then have a sort of overview of the statistics. And based on that, we see, in the first tournament, white was very dominant, like 60%. We're like, okay, let's see if we can do something out white, to make the balance more expensive, and so we can tune the format based on the statistics of the previous months.
Mm-hmm. So because of the fact that you use Atlantic as your base, that means that somebody can run 3 copies of Workshop. Has Mishra's Workshop and Artifacts decks, have they been problematic?
No, they haven't been played so far. So that's why we made a poll, because that's something. Another option we have is like the restricted cards. That's the X-Point OS think tank. A couple of guys who think about the format, and I'm like, we also should involve the community in this. So the regular cards that are not restricted, like the Factory and the Hymn to Turok and the Workshop, we just opened a poll on that on our Facebook page. So in order that you can just give your vote, what you think, how many points it should have. So currently it's at 1. So the community thinks it should have 1 point. Then we'll play a month with it, and if you then change your mind, you vote it to 2 or vote it to 0 or whatever you like. So that also have a nice community involvement with that.
That's the thing. We want to increase the format diversity. Like currently, we have no shops decks in the format. No robots decks are showing up, which is kind of sad. We want to make sure people can get value from their Shadow Storms and Energy Fluxes. So we've currently voted it down to 1, but it was a close vote because everybody's concerned about Workshop being 1 point. But as I argued, probably one of the strongest people in favor of diversity, I argued that without Mox's shops is going to be nice and slow, like theoretically, like at least not consistent every game. Because if you're lucky, you can get 4 Workshops, 4 Mana Vaults in there. And there's problems with that. Like if you're trying to rely on 6 drops and you get one of those blown up, then it's going to be rough. So we don't think it'll be broken, but we're going to try it. And if it is broken, we'll send it back for a vote, and they'll fix it. So.
Sure. I mean, if it is broken, you go ahead and fix it, and if it's not broken, then it might be okay. So
yeah,
the same with Hymn to Turok. That's the same with the Hymn to Turok. It was at 2. No one played it, and now it's set to 1. It's voted to 1, by the way, by the community. And I expect to see some more black decks next month. But then still, it costs you 4 points to play for him, so you only got 3 points left. So
I've got a black deck here, and I can only run with 3 Hymn to Turok because it's just I can't
Right.
squeeze
Yeah,
it up.
because we're
points.
going based on the old points right now. That's the graphic that I have on screen with 2 points for him to Turok and 2 points for shop, and
Whoa.
1 point for factory. But I know that you had sent me something that is going to change. But since that change hasn't happened yet, I figured I would just only use the one graphic right now. So. Okay, gentlemen.
okay,
well,
you take out your Hymn to Turok for this one.
yeah.
Well, this is going to be
all right, gentlemen. So let's
weeks.
get to some games. Oh, one last thing. This I did not look up the answer to this question, so I'm unprepared for this. So I'll have to ask. Since this is mostly webcam games, are you guys proxy friendly?
No, we have a broad reprint policy. So if that's what you mean by proxy, yes.
Okay,
we
so
allow
you have a broad
all same
reprint
mark, same
policy, but
frame.
you don't want somebody using using the proxies. You prefer the real cards.
We prefer the real card, and because there are a lot of budget alternatives for most cards, it should be fine indeed. Yeah.
It's a play what you have kind of thing. Like
Sure.
And it may change, but we don't think so because it's nice to recognize the cards. It's difficult enough over camera. Some people hand draw things, and I know they put a lot of effort in, and it's just difficult to follow what's happening.
I've run into those situations myself where somebody had hand-drawn proxies, didn't know exactly what it was, and made a play error based on that.
It favors them suddenly, and you're like,
Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you guys point your cameras down and let's play some X-Point Old School.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
So I'm going to mute my mic here, and I will not be keeping track of life on the screen. We're just going to be basically leaving it up to you guys. So good luck, and then after you guys are going to play a best 2 out of 3 with these decks, and if there's time, another best 2 out of 3, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
And then what we'll do is we'll end up going to a break between decks. That's all. So. All right. Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you.
Just to give you some background, Rich, one of the things I'm trying to highlight here is by switching 8 cards, I can turn it from a budget mono black into a less budget mono black.
8 cards make it budget. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So I'm sure that we'll see some of those changes in between games. All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Good luck. So you're not going to tell me what the budget version is right now, Raymond?
And how about you could take the play, my friend?
All right, everybody. So we are going to see what we've got with some 7 points right now for the X-Point Old School Magic. So let's make a couple of quick adjustments so that we can see some more of what's going on. And it looks like we are off to the races. It's a pretty sweet playmat of the Chaos Orb. So Island go and then Swamp into the rack. Okay, so that means that we are going to see those Hymn to Toroks, of course. More islands. And, ooh, Lord of Atlantis. Okay, so we got some aggression coming on, and we'll see where this leads. Sweet Old Swamp with the signature by Dan Frazier. Ooh, okay. All right, Black Knight. So 2-2 with first strike. That means that the Lord of Atlantis is not going to swing in by itself unless something gets added to the board. Alright, that is a Phantasmal Terrain. So one of those swamps is now an island. So let's scoot this up so that we can see that a little bit easier. Alright, but Lord of Atlantis doesn't give himself the island walk, so that attacking in with the Lord of Atlantis is still going to be a bad idea, because he gives all other merfolk +1/+1 and island walk. So, and I think that's what they're discussing right now. Okay, so we've got the face down card on the swamp to represent that is in fact an island. Might as well swing in for 2. It's not going to get blocked. So we got 18 to 20. And Royal Assassin. Oh, okay. So Royal Assassin is pretty cool. Tap to deal to destroy target tapped creature. Seems pretty good. Chaos Orb. Alright, but not another land. So this could end up being pretty problematic. But, I mean, black deck normally doesn't have a way to deal with artifacts, so that Chaos Orb is probably going to come through without too much of an issue. Oh, okay, well, I guess I will be corrected because there is another Chaos Orb now. So, what do we say? Do we think we're going to get a Chaos Orb flip to kill the other Chaos Orb? I think we might see that. All right, swinging in for 2, down to 16. All right, Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, a little 1/1 vanilla for 1 out of blue, and it is a Merfolk, so it gets pumped up by the Lord of Atlantis. So it is now a 2/2 with Island Walk. But that Royal Assassin will hold it back for now, I'm sure. Lots of lands. Lots and lots of lands. Swinging in. I'm surprised there wasn't a group block there, because a group block could have ended up with the death of the knight. I mean, you would have to sacrifice the Lord of Atlantis, but ooh, another Black Knight. So, all the first strikes going on. Okay, so an untap, and finally a third land. Land count is 3 to 5. Oh, Raymond going in and writing in the phantasmal terrain on the card so that it's a little bit easier to tell. All right, 3 mana. What do we got here? Ooh, Psyblast. Psyblast on the Royal Assassin. Okay, so down to 12. But that means that the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident can come in unfettered. Now, what could have been a good play here is to activate the Chaos Orb on the Phantasmal terrain, which would have ended up being a 2-for-1, because if the Orb kills the Phantasmal terrain, there'd be no islands, which would mean that the Merfolk wouldn't be unblockable anymore. So blocking with the Black Knight would have ended up killing the Merfolk, but opting to get rid of the Lord of Atlantis. Interesting that that was done after combat. Him to Torok. Alrighty, so that rack is going to start dealing some damage. 4 cards, 2 of them are going away. Now he can only play 3 copies of this. I mean, there's a couple of ways that that could have happened. He could have also flipped it on the Lord of Atlantis after it attacked, and same thing would have happened. But either way, with as many lands as he has on the table, I think that flipping on the Lord of Atlantis probably was the better play. But, you know, flipping on the Phantasmal terrain would have been pretty sweet as well. We're just adjusting their life totals. It is 18 to 7. All kinds of goodness going on here. Mono black is running on all cylinders, and the mono blue deck is floundering a little bit. A little fish pun there. Dad joke. Alright, Chaos Orb being flipped using the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. And it hits, so the rack goes away. Alright, so no more damage from the rack. But it did a lot. What's my favorite color? My favorite color in Magic is blue. I like drawing cards and I like saying no. When I first started the stream, this border was always blue, and then I switched it up so that it can be changed. But yeah, I like casting Ancestral Recall and drawing extra cards. I like casting Counterspell and Mana Drain and saying no. I like that blue can in old school Magic can do pretty much everything. You can bounce things with Boomerang. You can counter spells. You can deal damage with Psionic Blast. You can make people discard with Amnesia. The only thing that blue can't directly deal with are enchantments, because even artifacts are not a problem because energy flux exists. So. Alright, so we got a couple of copies of Unstable Mutation on the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. So Unstable Mutation gives +3/+3, and then at the beginning of each upkeep, you have to put a -1/-1 counter on the creature. Those counters will stay, so if something happened where both of those copies of Unstable Mutation went away, the counters would remain on the creature. So not that black has any easy way to deal with enchantments, but I did say that black couldn't deal with certain things, and then he drew the Chaos Orb. So he might have some extra fun stuff up his sleeve. Alright. Using the Disrupting Scepter for a discard, and bringing back a Royal Assassin with an Animate Dead. Seems like a solid play right there. 1 card to 0. 4 -1 counters on the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. So it's a 1/1, 7/7, -4, 3/3. So one card left. Draw Urborg, the original. Make you discard. It's another counterspell. Alright, so we've got 3/3 Merfolk of the Pearl Trident over there. Next upkeep, it will just be back down to a lowly 1/1. And now we can go ahead and start attacking back in with those Black Knights. Ooh, Mistress Factory. Okay, Mistress Factory. I mean, Mistress Factory is only a 2/2 right now. When it becomes active this turn, it would be Summoning Sick. But it can end up being a 3/3 later on. There's nothing in hand, so making him discard doesn't do much. The Royal Assassin is actually pretty huge here. Alright, so might as well block, chump block, and let the Merfolk die. And then only take 2. You're at 7, so go down to 5. But on the next turn, the factory can be activated to block, but once it goes to pump itself up, that Royal Assassin will take it down. So it's just basically going to be a chump block for a turn. Alright, and then it looks like this is going to be all she wrote. The black deck is probably going to be the winner here. Swinging in with both. At 5. What do you do? Do you just... I mean, Factory's going to die anyway, so you can either take 5 now and lose... take 4 now and lose next turn, or you can take 2 now and give yourself a couple of extra turns. Okay, well, going down to 1. Drain life. Alright, that's all she wrote. That drain life is the sealing the deal, so that is good. Alright, so Mono Blue stumbled. Mono black did not, and mono black prevailed. So while they are shuffling up, appreciate everybody who is here today. Please don't forget to join me for my regularly scheduled stream. I play 3 rounds of Old School Magic each and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as part of the Northern Paladins Tuesday Night Gauntlet. So don't forget to follow, turn on those notifications so you know when I go live. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you link your Twitch accounts to it. That gives you a Twitch Prime account. It's called Prime Gaming, and it allows you to subscribe to one channel each and every month. So if you send that subscription my way, I would definitely appreciate that. Coming up tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight Central European Time, PREMODERN. First time on the stream for PREMODERN, so we're looking to have a nice little showcase. We've got 3 matches of PREMODERN Magic on stream here tomorrow. So we are definitely looking forward to that. I did join the 7-point Singleton League again for the month of April. All of the point cards are banned, so that means that all the cards you see on your screen right now will not be able to be used in 7-point Singleton next month. So looking forward to streaming my matches for that. If you want to get in touch with me, feel free to reach out to richtwitchstream@gmail.com, and you can also snail mail me at 5701 East Circle Drive, Suite 108, number 256, Cicero, New York, 13039. So, players are just about ready for game number 2, and let's see what we can do. Let's hope that we have a little bit of a better game. It was a little lopsided there, but you know, in all of Old School Magic, that does happen, regardless of whether or not you're playing traditional Old School, Swedish, or Eternal Central, or Atlantic, or if you're playing 7-point Singleton, you're playing Alpha 40, Alpha 60, anything, even X-Point Old School. Variance does exist, and we will have to see what happens. When you don't have access to the Moxen or to the fast mana, then things tend to go a little bit slower, but Mono Blue did not have the lands, so hoping that they are going to be able to cast their spells this time. Excuse me. Ooh, mulligan out of the mono blue deck. Not a good sign. So one thing about most formats of Old School Magic is they do in fact use the modern mulligan rules. So it's always good that you can go with the Vancouver mulligan. Go back to 7 cards and then put a number of cards on the bottom equal to the number of mulligans you have taken. So you get a fresh look at 7 and then put 1 down on the bottom. Now, just like the Singleton formats with the X-Point Old School, mulligans are a little harsh because you bury the card and you don't have access to it pretty much for most of the game. There are very, very few shuffle effects, and because of the way that the point system works, you don't have access to those points, those cards that do shuffle, unless you are specifically built your deck to include them. So 1 point on the Time Twister and 3 points on the Demonic Tutor means that Mono Blue is probably not running a Demonic Tutor, and although it is possible that a Time Twister is in there. So the rack on against the mulligan is pretty good. Means that the Mono Blue deck is going to have to deal with it for a little while. Okay, so Merfolk of the Pearl Trident getting in there for 2 after the Lord of Atlantis comes down. The rack be damned. Gotta play the game. Gotta make sure that the blue deck can get as much damage in as possible, as quickly as possible. Alright, Black Knight. Alright, so the Black Knight stymies the mono blue deck once again. He still has 4 cards, so let's see what he can do. If he can play another Merfolk, Lord of Atlantis, this will end up being a rather interesting game for the mono blue deck. All right, Phantasmal Terrain. All right, so at least the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident can get in there. Okay, Merfolk of the Pearl Trident gets in there for 2. So it is now 20-16. All right, so let's see what the mono black deck can do now. Royal Assassin. Okay. It just seems like that this mono black deck has the tools to just keep the mono blue deck at bay for most of the game until the mono black deck can just start playing its own game. Alright, 4 cards in hand for the blue deck. 4 cards in hand for the black deck. Blue deck in the tank. Ooh, alright. Another Lord of Atlantis. So the 2 lords are 3/3s, as is the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. It's getting in there for 3, unblockable. But that Merfolk of the Pearl Trident will not be long for this world. Alright, black deck is down to 13. Alright, another Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. Alright, still putting pressure on. Developing the board. Blue deck is going to start taking damage from the rack. Hymn to Torok from the black deck would be pretty backbreaking here. Let's see what we've got. Thinking if he activates the Royal Assassin now, that means that a bunch of damage could end up coming through. Okay. Hypnotic Spectre, but that doesn't help with what's on the board. Alright, so he's not going to activate the Royal Assassin now. He's probably going to wait till the next attack, which is the right thing to do. Wait. Oh, he is going to activate it now. Alright, so if he activates that Royal Assassin now, that means he's got 3 3/3s coming in next turn. So that probably should have waited in that Royal Assassin should have waited until the attack. Chances are that there would have been less creatures attacking if the Royal Assassin was untapped. Surprised there's only 1 creature coming in, since everything has Island Walk. Could have attacked for 9 here. Instead opts to just attack for 3. And then we see a Serendib Efreet. Revised version of Serendib Efreet with the art from the Arabian Nights card If Biff Efreet. Classic card that has is an error that a lot of people only have seen this version of the card. So yeah, had the blue deck attacked with all 3 creatures here, there'd be 6 more damage. It'd be down to 4, and the Royal Assassin would. Ooh, okay. So we've got a Drain Life for 4. All right, so he only gains 3. So Drain Life for 3, gaining 3. Okay. All right, Royal Assassin is tapped. All right, point for the dib, point for the rack. Yeah, 17-13. Okay, Mish's Factory coming to join the party. Alright, so the Lord of Atlantis no longer has Island Walk. The Dib turning sideways is not happening. Okay, so it was just a pass. Sinkhole. Alright, Sinkhole is probably getting rid of the... Oh, he's going to get rid of his own swamp? Oh no, he's getting rid of the factory. He was considering getting rid of his own swamp. That would have been pretty cool. His swamp that was enchanted with the phantasmal terrain to make it an island. And... Okay, so taking a point from the Dib, playing a River Merfolk, then passing the turn. Yeah, that Royal Assassin is holding down the fort. This would have been a different game had there been that Alpha Strike earlier on. There'd be 6 fewer life points on the table. If this were 15 to 7 instead of 15 to 13, now 15 to... Sorry, now it's 13 to 13 because a point from the rack, a point from the Dib. In the tank here. It's pretty tough. That Royal Assassin just complicates things so much. Discussing their options and saying go. Yeah, it's got to be pretty frustrating to have 3 creatures on the table and still not be able to attack. Another copy of Royal Assassin. Okay, 1 point from the Dib on the upkeep. 4 cards in hand, still above the rack. Okay. Down to 3 cards, but that means that there is a factory on the table now. It's basically defense right now. So, yeah, no damage is getting through right now. It is, the only damage that is being dealt is the Serendib Efreet to the blue player, and going down to 11. So 11 more turns at this rate, and this one will be over. See if we could do something else. Now, mono blue could end up with something like Psionic Blast or Boomerang, something along those lines. But we'll see what happens. Okay, 2 blue. What do we got? Another Lord of Atlantis joins the party. All right. But, I mean, can't swing in here because of the fact that there are 2 copies of Royal Assassin. So... Still got to wait it out. Mono Blue is going to have to amass a huge army at a rate higher than the army of the Mono Black player. It is a rather sweet Christopher Rush signed order there. Order of the Ebon Hand, one of the Pump Knights out of Fallen Empires. Alright, 3 cards, no damage from the rack, 1 damage from the Dib, up to 4 cards. Down to 10 life. Slowly but surely, this is not going well for the blue deck. Yeah, that's one thing that blue can't do. LeBrook's asking what my favorite color was. Is blue, but blue doesn't have any way to deal mass amounts of damage and take care of multiple creatures, with the exception of what volcanic eruption if the opponent has mountains. So, flying men, it's a dude, 1/1 flyer. It's funny how that Royal Assassin can just hold things back. All the black mana, you might as well come in with that Pump Knight. And I think blocking with the Serendib Efreet might end up coming into play here pretty soon. Because A, you have to pump up the Knight the most to kill it. And B, that means that the Dib is not killing you. Alright, but the Knight costs 2 black to pump up 1 power. There's plenty there, so you can pump it up twice and then pay 1 black to give it first strike, so 5 mana would kill the Dib. Now, he can group block here. If he group blocks, that's 7 toughness right there that he would have to contend with. So 2, 3, 4, 5. He can only pump it up to 5 toughness. So even if he gives it first strike, the Knight would die. River Merfolk is a 2/1, and for a blue it can gain Mountain Walk. So alright, so the Pump Knight should be dead. The River Merfolk survives. The Dib is down, so that means no more damage to himself from the blue player. Another hippie. Okay, so the black flyers are probably going to start swinging in on the next turn. It does double duty. It will do some damage, and it will activate the rack as well, getting cards out of the blue player's hand. Psyblast. Okay, Psyblast on a Royal Assassin gets rid of one of the problematic cards. There's still so much on the table. 2 cards in hand, takes a point from the rack, down to 7. Draws a card, up to 3 cards. Okay, so another Psyblast and you can swing for 9. See, if he swings with all 3 of the Merfolk, the Royal Assassin will take out one of the Lords, making the other Lord blockable. Yeah. The Alpha Strike earlier would have meant that the Psionic Blast would have been a good game. Yeah, definitely so. And he's at 13. He should have 6 more damage. He would have been at 7 right now. The Psyblast could have gotten in there. Alright, there's a Dib. Gotta block those hippies. And the Pump Knight's off the table. Alright, so blue is setting himself up. Oh, he played a Mox. Alright, 1 card in hand. So he's going to take 3 on his upkeep, bringing him down to 4. So he needs to figure out something right here, or right now, or else he's not long for this world. I don't think that I agree with playing the Mox. It just mathematically doesn't work out that enough damage can be dealt here because that Alpha Strike didn't happen earlier in the game. Alright, so the right play here would be to tap and kill one of the Lords of Atlantis, making the other Lord blockable. Alright, so we've got 2 3-power creatures coming in. Sorry, no. Lord of Atlantis is a 2/2. The River Merfolk is a 3/2. Block and kill the Merfolk, the Lord, and then only take 2 damage because it's... it would only be 2 damage because the Lord of Atlantis is gone before the damage is dealt. So it's 11-7. Yeah, first strike coming in, and yeah, how much different of a game would this be? Ooh, another copy of the rack. All right, so 2 points from each of the racks, 1 point from the Serendib, and then this attack is going to cause some problems. The factory is sick, so it can't pump itself and it can't survive. So yeah, this ends up being pretty much a lethal attack. 2 damage comes through. The card gets discarded. Takes 6 on the upkeep from the rack. I mean, he should be discarding a card. But regardless, he's going to take 2 damage from each of the racks and 1 damage from the dib. So that is the game. Game over.
Switch decks into the other version.
Yeah,
Gentlemen,
yeah, I'll get another deck
wow,
as well.
that was fun. That was some fun back and forth. There was a point where you could have attacked with everything for with all the blue creatures to deal some extra damage, and had you done so, you could have ended up winning that game. You could have done 6 extra points of damage at one point.
Yeah, but was that not already with the Royal Assassin on board?
No, it was the turn the Royal Assassin was played, so that it couldn't tap and do anything right then and there.
Yeah.
And then it could have meant that Side Blast later on could have been thrown at his head. But that was definitely a good game, a good match. It was better than the first one, because that first one you stumbled on lands for so long that you didn't get to develop much. So, all right, guys, we're going to take a quick break while you guys get your second decks ready.
Awesome.
So I appreciate that, and we will be back in just a moment. Viewers, please stick around for more Old School Magic. We will be back in just a moment. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you sticking around through the break. So we are playing X Point Old School right now on stream. So we take the Atlantic rules for Old School Magic, the Atlantic Banned Restricted List, and then assign point cards to assign points to some of the cards, some of the restricted and some of the unrestricted cards. And then currently, X Point Old School allows for 7 points. And we will be playing with different decks this time. Now, the mono black deck is just an updated version from a budget deck to a non-budget deck. So we are coming back to the players now, and we are going to play another match with different decks. So thank you for sticking around, gentlemen, and let's play some more Magic, shall we?
Your choice,
Yes.
Will.
Yeah, I'll start because I lost, Raymond. So
Okay.
that's the rule, right?
Sounds good. Okay.
All right, good luck, gentlemen. Okay, so they are going to play another game, another match, and we will see what happens here. Mono Black was on the right and won the first match. And let's see what's going on here. All right, so now we've got swamps on both sides. Now, the rack did some damage in the first match. All right, so now we got mountains too. Okay, and a Mox. What do we got going on? Hippie, Hypnotic Spectre. Gotta love it. All right, so now we've got the red and black deck going to possibly do some shenanigans to the mono black deck, because might as well, since it defeated him so handily in the first match. All right, getting rid of the red source makes sense. 4 cards. No damage from the rack. Draw up to 5. Swinging in with that hippie. Dealing 2 damage and knocking a card at random out of the mono black player's hand. Ooh, Disrupting Scepter. Good one to get rid of. But then he says go. Must not have a land to play or cards to cast. So getting rid of that mountain could end up being a pretty brutal play. And now we see a Royal Assassin. So, alright, there's a mountain. Is there a burn spell to take out that Royal Assassin? Yes. Lightning Bolt. Killing the assassin. And then swinging in for 2 safely. Getting rid of 1 card at random. Mono black player down to 2 cards. Pump Knight down. 4 cards in hand in the red black player. For the red black player. So this should end up being much more of a game than before. Oh, Juzum Jin. The Juzum. 5/5. Dealing damage to the opponent each turn, to the player each turn, but you take 1 point to deal 5. Seems like a pretty good bargain to me. We'll see if there is a way to deal with that. I think a swing with a hippie here is the right thing because there's only 1 card left. Might as well get that last card out of the player's hand. It is a copy of the rack. Down to 14. Down to 13. The red and black player was in the tank but decided not to do anything. Full health, so this swing for 5. Ooh, double bolt. The mono black player moved the die and thought that he was getting through, but not so much. Okay, so it is now 19 to 13. Right? No. Not sure why the black and red player went down to... Oh, the rack. Excuse me. 2 point... there was a rack on there. He only had 2 cards. Ooh. Him to Torok. Okay. Oh, it's a... Oh, he could have cast the wheel to get up to 7 cards and get out from under the rack, but instead opted not to do so. Ooh. We'll see if that does anything. He takes 3 down to 16. And this Hippie's going to have to do some work here. Going down to 9. 9 to 16, so it's still anybody's game here. The Hippie is a permanent source of damage. Going to cast another spell. Oh, okay. Upton Troll. Alright, 2/2 that can regenerate for a red. Seems good. Apply more pressure. I mean, he's still dealing more damage than he's taking, and he has a lot more life. Alright, so take 3 from the rack down to 13. Go ahead and attack for 4. Going down to 5. The mono black player is not doing well this game. Not very many answers. Alright, untaps, draws a card. It is a Royal Assassin. Not doing much, though. The red-black player is going to take 2 damage from the rack, going down to 11. Okay, so here's a cool thing that could happen, is that the red-black player can attack with both creatures, and if the Royal Assassin does starts to tap some things, down to 1, so I guess it doesn't matter if there is something, if one of those creatures goes away. Oh, okay, so end of combat, he untapped the Hippie, basically giving it pseudo-vigilance, and keeping the Troll tapped because it can regenerate from the destruction of the Royal Assassin. Okay, that Juzam seals the fate of the mono black player. Alright, so we have seen a completely and totally different game here with the switching of the decks. So on the left we've got red and black, on the right we've got mono black, and that means that it is now time for sideboards. So while we're doing that, I appreciate everybody who is here. You can join me each and every week for my regularly scheduled stream. I play 3 rounds of Old School Magic every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as part of the Northern Paladins Tuesday Night Gauntlet. So don't forget to follow and turn on those notifications so that you know when I go live. Tomorrow on my stream is the debut of PREMODERN for my stream. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight Central European Time. 3 matches of PREMODERN live here on my stream. Looking forward to this. PREMODERN is a very, very fun format. You see the legal sets on there are from 4th edition through Scourge. Anything that has the old border starting with 4th edition, and cards that were standard legal. So that means that no promo cards, no portal cards or starter or anything along those lines, unless they were reprinted in a standard legal set between 4th edition and Scourge. We are currently playing some X-Point Old School. You see that here are the points. Currently the X is equal to 7, so any deck can be built with any combination of cards as long as the total point does not value higher than 7. So the mono black is playing the rack and is playing Hymn to Torok, and we'll see what happens next. On the left we have the red and black deck that took down game number 1 of this match, so let's see if they can continue. Players are shuffling up and getting ready. They are presenting their decks, and the mono black deck on the right will be going first. That mulligan down to 6, resetting their life totals to 20. Swamp go. Swamp go. Another swamp. What do we got here? No double black spell. With all the Black Knights and the Hymn to Toroks and the Sinkholes, I would have thought that there would have been a double black spell, but no. Alright, so the red-black player gets a Chaos Orb on the table, which should be safe unless there's another Chaos Orb. An early Royal Assassin, probably is going to get shot by that Chaos Orb. We will see what happens. Red and black player is about to play another land. That is swamp number 2. So 3 mana. What do we have here? Maybe a Hypnotic Spectre? Or a Troll? It is. We've got another Uthden Troll 2/2 that regenerates for 1 red mana. It's a very nice looking unlimited version of the card. And we've got a Pump Knight. Alright. And the Rack. All kinds of fun stuff getting added to the battlefield now. Alright, so any rack damage? I don't think so. It looks like there are 3 cards in hand. Maybe more. Maybe 4. Drawn up to 5 it looks like. So the rack is not doing any damage just yet, but we will see what happens. Our red-black players in the tank here, wondering what to do. Tapping a black. Are we going to see an activation of the orb? Yes, we are. Alright, nice little orb flip here. I'm going to use the Uthden Troll probably as the Royal Assassin. Let's find out. Oh! Swing and a miss. He gave it to him anyway? Okay. Gentleman's flip. Gave it to him. Gave him the gentleman's flip, even though it wouldn't have died, but that's okay. Swings in with the Uthden Troll. And a Hypnotic Spectre comes to join the party. So it appears that this red and black deck is faring much better than the mono blue deck. Yeah, Entrox, been there before. Yes, orb flips are they are an art, not a science, and because of that, it is tough sometimes to get that worked out. Now I know that there are people who can hit like 50 orb flips in a row and something along those lines. I get it, that's awesome and things like that, but muscle memory isn't there for everybody. 2 years ago is when I very first played Old School Magic, and I did not put a Chaos Orb in my very first Old School Magic deck. And the reason being is I had never flipped a Chaos Orb in my life up until that point. So because I had never flipped a Chaos Orb, I did not want to have that card be a liability. It's much less of a liability now, 2 years later, but I'm far from perfect when it comes to orb flips now. Alright, so the Bolt takes care of the Royal Assassin. Both creatures come in. Card discarded at random is another Royal Assassin. So the red and black deck seems to be holding its own, bringing a Sedge Troll to the party, and fun times are going to be had. I believe that's a Sedge Troll. It might be another Uthden Troll. Yeah, that's another Uthden Troll. Oh, okay. Untaps, taking a damage from the rack, down to 17. Rack damage. So 17 to 14. Gonna swing in with both trolls, keeping back the hippie. Okay, regenerate on one of the trolls that is being blocked. The other one comes through. 12 damage. Now 12 points left to 17. Anyone who has played Old School has had the opportunity to miss their orb flips. You aren't born with the ability to flip orbs and land them every single time. So, all right. So this Hymn to Torok is going to be brutal. Keeping one card. Going to start taking damage from the rack. Discarding 2 copies of Hymn to Torok. This is what it looks like. Oh no, a hymn and a hippie. Swinging in with both. Alright, so I think you got to maze the hippie here. Or you could block the hippie. Yeah. Block the hippie, maze the pump knight. Okay. Alright, 2 damage from the rack. Go down to 15. 15 to 12. Still 2 trolls. Two cards in hand now. I think the right thing to do is just turn both of these bad boys sideways. Regenerate the one that gets blocked. Oh, terror. Alright. Cannot be regenerated from that bad boy. So it's going to take 2. Alright. 15 to 10. Disrupting Scepter. Okay, so 1 point from the rack. Untap and draw. Up to 3 cards. The Youthton Troll probably is not swinging this time. Never Narrows Disc. Alright, Larry Nevin would be proud here for this beautiful card that was named after him. 2 cards in hand for the red and black player, and it looks like that going down to 1, and this might be the last time that the rack does any damage. It's going to deal 2 this time. But alright, so untap. Take 2 from the rack. Down to 12. I don't think he can let the opponent untap here because I don't think he wants to discard another card. Especially since the opponent hasn't been doing anything. Yeah. Tap the disc, regenerate, get rid of everything else. 2 cards in hand to 0 with a creature on the table. Seems good. It is a swamp. Okay. No damage now. The rack is gone, so you didn't have to take that point of damage. It happens. Swinging in for 2. It is now 12 to 8. Another swamp. Alright, mono black player is in trouble here, but he does have Drain Life in his deck, so that can pull him ahead. Swinging in for 2 down to 6. And if he draws a Drain Life, he can go directly to the face. Or he could just keep on drawing swamps for, 3 consecutive turns. That's always an option. It's a lovely option when it comes to Magic the Gathering is variance. Oh, Sengir Vampire. Alright, taking a point down to 11. All kinds of stuff going on here. Alright, so he needs a Drain Life for the win. To not die. So, and that is all she wrote. Black and red takes that one down. It is 2 to 0. Well, gentlemen, that was another fantastic set of games. A little lopsided going in the opposite direction this time.
Totally.
But
yeah.
Just goes to show. I mean, that's part of Magic, though. I think that the blue deck could have done better with some different draws. I mean, obviously, we've seen that the mono black deck can do good things, but when a deck has answers and can interact a little bit more than the mono blue deck was doing, you can see right there that it was definitely a different result. So.
Yep.
And this was running with him to Turak at 1 point, and it's not super oppressive. It didn't feel like so.
Right.
I think I'm only able to fit in 3 in this deck. I've got 2 points on Soul Ring, 2 points on Mox Jet. That's 4, and then 3 more on him to Turax.
Yeah. That seems good.
Yeah. That's a
and
good.
We got Chaos Orb for free and Strip Mine for free. And this is the April 15th proposed points.
Sure.
We're just kind of testing it today.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned it before, and I glossed over it. So just so everybody is aware, you guys start your leagues in the middle of the month because all of the other leagues start at the beginning of the month. So
yeah, exactly. So Raymond also plays in a lot of leagues, and me too. And a lot of people were like, "Geez, another league." I already got 3 or 4 starting at the first of the month, and then I get a lot of stress scheduling. And I was like, Thomas from 7 Point Singleton said, "Well, why don't you start at the 15th, right?" I was like, "Nah, everybody starts at the first, so I would like to start at the first of the month as well." And then later I discussed it with our think tank, as we call it. And they were like, "Well, why not give it a shot? Because usually I'm done after 2 weeks, and then I'm waiting for 2 weeks what to do." And now, hey, that's nice. I can start a new league on the 15th when usually most of the people are already done with most of the matches. So I think it's a good move. We'll
really
see.
is it? Like right now, when I'm trying to build 2 decks at once, I can't do it.
Right. It's like one thing that I don't like about leagues is having to take cards out of one deck to put them in a different deck, and swap things back and forth. Now with 7 Point Singleton, I can use proxies if I want, and I can use proxies on Tuesday night with the Paladins. So that means that if I have cards that are the same in both decks, I can use a proxy in one or whatnot, so that's not an issue. But that's not the case for a lot of people, and they don't have that option to use proxies, or the fact that you're stuck with the same deck for X number of weeks, and then you have to continue to swap back and forth. It's got to be hard to keep track when you're running in those leagues. Now, fortunately enough for me, my second league is Mirage Block. So there's no overlaps other than basic lands there. So I have enough basic lands for that. And the Mirage Block League started 10 days ago, right there in the middle of the month, just like X Point Old School. So that means I have something to stream this week, among other things. And with the X Point Old School, that is something too. So any other thoughts on where you think the direction of the format is going, and where can people find out more about X Point Old School? Do you have a Discord, or is it just Facebook?
No, at the moment it's just Facebook, because we started it like 3 months. I think it's 3 months ago. So it's I just made the first edited the first movies myself. They're not that great, but I made a YouTube channel for that. So slowly I'm checking out other channels to make some X Point Old School content. So I'll put the camera up. That's better.
Yeah.
And because here, once you look at my white neat playmat, that's kind of boring. And so it's old school only at the moment, but I'm looking into other options as well. And this stream of yours is also great to get more people looking at X Point Old School. And Timmy Talks made a video, and it's going to release one, I think, the coming Friday again, the finals of Tournament 1, where you can see Raymond shine with his blue-white control deck. And but I'm looking into other things as well. But I must say it takes quite some time to manage it properly, because I was like, oh well, let's try this and start with Facebook. But we already got like 200 members or so, and it's a lot of questions, of course, about the format, and we need to change it slowly, but don't make too many changes each month, because if we do that, then you lose people. So we have some ideas, but we have to monitor the format with the statistics we use each month, so we see how it's going, and then slowly improve. That's the thing.
I threw the link up in the chat. It's facebook.com/groups/XPTOS for
Yeah.
X Point Old School, XPTOS. So it should be something that is fairly simple for people to find. Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty fun format. It looks like there's a bunch of design space there. You guys have just had a couple of events so far. How many participants? How many people have been playing?
For the first month, we started deliberately with 20 people, just for me to get a hang of organizing the tournament and with the Excels and all stuff like that. So this month it was 30, and April 15th, we already got 35 people, and we got a player cap set at 48, I believe.
48 is the cap.
So,
okay.
yeah, so far, but if there are more people, I'll probably find out something. But it's nice to have 5 player pots or 6 player pots and then 8 pots. So we get the winner of the pot gets to the playoffs and also the number 2, because I like it that people they always want to fight for a chance to go to the next round.
Sure.
At least I do, and most do. So yeah, that's why I chose for this setup.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, in the league, how many weeks do you have to finish your matches?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks for the group matches, and then 1 or 2 weeks. That doesn't matter really for the playoffs. It's nice to try to finish them all before the next. But if it's no problem if the final or the semis are during the other month, it's after the group phase. I always publish the statistics online so that everybody who's a member of X Point Old School Facebook can see the meta game of the last tournament. So what colors are being played more, what cards have been played the most, and I also took that from Thomas Ribet from 7 Point Singleton. I took his sheet. I was allowed to use it and then improve it a little bit for this format, so that everybody can see what the meta game is, what colors are being played most, what cards are being played most, and then make your deck based upon that for next month. So that's nice as well, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that seems like it's pretty good, and it's a growing format. So there's definitely something that we are going to keep an eye on. So we're looking.
So one more thing,
into...
Rich. One more thing is to say is that I also get questions like it's exactly like Raymond said, right? It's you can see it in some way as a budget format because of the what's rebate policy, but you can just basically make any deck, Raymond. That's what you also said as well. We just showed an aggro deck and it's sort of a mid-range deck, but control is also very good because he won tournament number 1 with it. Perhaps you can tell them more about that, Raymond.
Yeah, I played a version of the deck. It was blue-white skies. So I had 3 moat was kind of what I built around. I ran 4 drakes. It turns out I don't even think I needed the drakes. But so even it was the deck essentially missing about, I haven't done the math, but about 15 or 18 cards. Wow. And it was still very strong. It's just much slower. I ran Fell Wars instead of Moxes, that kind of thing. And then I just wanted to throw in one more idea. You asked before about going forward, what do you see? I'll just leave this with you. Currently, we're running 7 points, which is variable, under Atlantic format, but we may switch it to Eternal Central rules or Swedish, just to spice it up every maybe 3rd month. Kind of copy the Dutch Odal, the way they switch it up every 3rd month or so, just to like add some more brew space and challenge people to think about the format in a different way.
Right. Yeah, and that could end up being a pretty fun thing. Switching it out to Swedish BNR or even Eternal Central or Pacific or something along those lines, because the dynamic with the different card pools, the different restricted lists cannot be understated. Now, if you guys do Pacific, are you going to assign any points to the rats?
They're like super lords. Each one pumps the others, right? Like, I literally ordered. I've got 17 beta plague rats right now. So I think I'm getting close to enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll play in Pacific someday.
Yeah. So if we go X Point Old School with Pacific banned and restricted, you're going to be all set with all of your plague rats. It's going to be awesome. For those who aren't aware of what I'm talking about, Pacific Old School allows any number of plague rats to be played. So I think it started out as a joke, and I don't know if too many people run that many plague rats, but It is definitely something that is fun. We see it in Alpha 40 a lot, where there are Plague Rats decks, which are pretty potent if they get rolling. So I would assume that in Old School it could be as well. Who knows though?
I think they're good.
That's yet to be,
I
that's
think
yet
it's
to
as
be seen.
Garfield intended. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't put on the card can play infinite number because Alpha rules allowed you to play infinite number of creatures. So
Yeah.
I think they should errata it to allow it, and it should be like that in all Old School formats.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody agrees with me so far.
Well,
Keep spreading the word, Raymond, and perhaps someone might.
maybe we'll have to do that. Maybe X Point Old School will just start allowing it blanket across the board. So
It's a thing. Like if we get good feedback from the community, we always ask people from the community to just comment on the rulings we make, or pointing or whatever. I also made a poll like how people like to play. Do you want Euro pods and USA pods? Because there's really a split. You got like 40% American players, 60% European players. Do you like it mixed? And just get an input on that. And perhaps next month we'll just make mixed pods. And for the people who prefer to play with in the same time zone, we just keep one European pod and one American pod, and then that they meet each other after the playoffs, right? So some stuff like that. We're thinking about that also all the time.
My friend Rob is in the Pacific time zone, and he has a heck of a time scheduling. I think it's our noon there is like 9 p.m. in Europe, so that will probably help a lot of American players access the format, which is a great idea, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, for if you play in the Derby series, obviously you're used to having like 10 days to schedule 4 matches, and you have to do that. But the Derbies only happen twice a year, excuse me. So that means that by doing that in a league, it does make it tough. Now, some people don't have the open schedule, and me being on the East Coast of the U.S. makes it easier for me to schedule with either a 5 or 6 hour time difference with our European brethren. But when it comes to West Coast, or even the few people in Hawaii who play old school Magic, it can end up being quite the chore to schedule some of those matches. So
So what I want to say, we try to accommodate for that as well. So perhaps next month we'll just make an American pot, and if they want, they can apply for that pot, of course. And then
Puck13 in chat says, "What makes MTG the best card game? He's new to this card game and the genre." So I would like to say that the best part about it is that all of the mechanics are pretty streamlined, and there's so much variety among the decks and among the colors, and the fact that variants exist is a good thing and a bad thing. So while 2 decks might not line up properly on paper, you do still have to play those games, and one deck might seem on paper to have all the answers against another deck, but once you play those games, and you add in that element of the random draws, and the shuffled decks and things like that, anything can happen in any given game. So that's what I think makes MTG the best card game. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that.
I think it's the gathering. That's usually, I think, what we take away from our weekends was when we gather, is like we had some good friendship time, good socializing. Especially during COVID, the webcam is still a gathering. I met my friend Lewis here a few months ago, and now we're creating a format together, and we're having good times today, and I'm not feeling as lonely as I would otherwise. So I think it always comes back to the gathering aspect.
Magic, the online gathering for now, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Over the past year, my whole world is encapsulated in, mostly in this room. And across webcam. I mean, obviously I have my wife and my child, but being in the house, definitely that whole gathering aspect, and you know, it can be just somebody you've played Magic with once or twice in you know, over the course of a webcam game, and then once this is all over, you know, you're gonna be like best friends when we get to see each other. There's gonna be hugs and high fives and all kinds of cool stuff once we can finally be in the same room together and share some beers and you know, just have a good time. So
Can't wait for that to be able again. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, with that, it looks like our time is up. So thank you guys for bringing X Point Old School to my stream. I definitely appreciate it, and we're setting this up so that we can do this a little more frequently. So when we have
Great.
those details worked out, we will post that on social media, and I will announce it on the stream. So, gentlemen, thank you again. You guys have a great one, and I appreciate you allowing me to do this today.
Thanks for having us, Rich.
All right, take care.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Rick. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, Lewis.
Well, that is all for today. So I appreciate everybody who is joining the stream today for the X Point Old School Exposition. Excuse me. Please don't forget to follow, and you can join me each and every week for my regularly scheduled stream. I play 3 rounds of Old School Magic every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as part of the Northern Paladins Tuesday Night Gauntlet. Special stream tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. First time on my stream that I will have PREMODERN going on, and that is 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight Central European time. Tomorrow we've got 3 matches in a PREMODERN showcase. PREMODERN allows all sets from 4th edition through Scourge with the original borders. Anything that was standard legal ends up being legal in PREMODERN with a handful of cards that are banned. There is no restricted list, just a handful of banned cards, but we're definitely looking forward to having a good stream tomorrow for that. So with that, I want to say thank you very much for being here, and please don't forget to follow, and we will see you the next time that we stream. Please stick around for the raid. We've got some good video gaming coming on, so stick around, and I will see you next time.